Hello everybody, thank you for watching this board game gab where I'm going to be talking about the Battle of the Minds versus Battle of the Game. But first, only a small amount of people that watch my videos are subscribers, so if you like what you see, consider subscribing. It only takes a second and you can always unsubscribe later. So what do I mean by those two categories, Battle of the Mind or Battle of the Game? Well, very recently I was playing a game with a friend, and at the end of it, I came to a realization, honestly, it was more about myself than anything else, and I figured it would be a good topic of discussion. So I'm using these two terms to define different types of competitive games. So competitive game obviously being one with a winner and losers. And I think the best way to talk about it is just kind of to give some examples. So let's talk about the Battle of the Mind. This is a type of competitive game that I think is best described as chess. You have two players going against each other trying to outwit, outsmart, and outmaneuver the other player. And then you have other categories of games that fit into this category. And then you have other types of games that fit into this definition, like war games or miniatures games. For example, my friend really enjoys Mythic Battles Pantheon, a good game that has two armies battling against each other to see who wins. But also these could be one versus many games like Fury of Dracula, Conan the Barbarian, Letters of Whitechapel. In these games you tend to have one overlord and then lots of heroes that are battling each other. Okay, so those are games that are Battle of the Minds because you have two people or groups of people battling and outwitting each other. And then the other side of the category is Battle of the Game. Now these are the type of games that typically have victory points, where players are going to be interacting with the game in order to best optimize their moves that then ends up in a victory. So it's not necessarily about outsmarting your opponent, although there can be elements of that. It's more about optimizing your own self, your own character or engine or whatever it may be, to then interact with the game that then you can end up with the win. And yes, I do see the irony that I just redefined the difference between Ameritrash and Euro games. But I think it's an interesting discussion because it kind of puts him in a different light. So what type of game do I tend to like more? Well, honestly, I tend to like Battle of the Game a lot more than I like Battle of the Mind. And I think it comes down to just how it makes me feel when I lose, because I'm going to be honest, I do lose quite a few games. I like games doesn't necessarily mean I'm good at games. So when I lose a Battle of the Game, I can sit back and look at it and say, okay, what I probably should have done is maybe taken this move differently or done this thing a little bit differently, and maybe I would have ended out on top. Now that's not necessarily true, but by doing so, I can kind of think of different strategies of how I can approach it next time I play the game. Well, Battle of the Mind, you can't really do that, because if you sit back and say, oh, I should have done this, okay, yeah, maybe you should have, but you know what would have happened? Your opponent then would have done this other thing that would have tried to counteract what you just did. So yes, it might have changed the battle slightly, but if your opponent is better tactically, they're going to outmaneuver no matter what you change. So I guess the way I frame it in my mind is, in one, I tend to lose to the game because I didn't optimize myself. I didn't take the best moves. And in the other one, I lost to a person because that person is better, smarter, and just outwitted me and beat me. And so for some reason, I'd rather lose to a game than lose to a person. So yeah, that's really all I want to talk about today. Kind of redefining the terms Ameritrash and Euro to talk about why I do or do not like them as much. I still do like a lot of Ameritrash with dice rolling, one versus one Battle of the Mind kind of games. I just tend to focus more towards the ones when battling a game instead of someone else. So I'm Ian with Board Feelings. I want to thank everyone for watching. So which of the two do you tend to like more? Do you tend to like Battle of the Mind or Battle of the Game? Leave your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. Now go experience many board feelings. I want to thank you all so much for watching my video. I know there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other board game content creators out there, and you took your time to watch this one, so thank you so much. If you like what you see, consider subscribing. You can do that right here. And if you want to see more of my videos, you can click right up here to see more. And down here is just a video that YouTube thinks you may like. So once again, thanks for watching.